Don't you know I'm the queen of weird? I rough around the edges, my dear. And don't you know there's nothing to fear? I'm the queen of the weird, my dear. Don't you know, my dear, rough around the edges, nothing to fear. Don't you know, my dear, rough around the edges, nothing to fear. Don't you know, my dear, that I made it quite clear. Going, no, we're gonna get more than love. Don't you know, my dear, rough around it, on the edges here. Don't you know, I'm the queer weird. I thought I made it pretty clear. Rough around it, the edges here. I got the thing that's keeping you out here. Only one, nothing to fear. What's inside your head, my dear? Only one, nothing to fear. What's inside your head, my dear? Rough around the edge, dear. Only thing to fear is fear. Rough around her, and it's there. No, Miss Electric will get you clean. They fear all that clear. Don't know if you're left. Don't know if you even exist. Yeah. Rough around her, and dear, I thought I made it pretty clear. I was always the one for a square, a paying round hole. I was always the one. I gotta sell your soul. I was on one upon a big and small hole. Then you know you lost all control. Rough around the edge, dear. Messing like you got a lot to fear. I'm coming down like a storm. And maybe you'll get born. And maybe you'll get born. And maybe you'll get born. And maybe I'll grab your man's heart. And maybe you'll get born. And maybe your soul's in the skull. Rough around her, and it's dear. I thought I made it pretty clear. Always one to put a square peg soul. I fall down in that deep, deep hole. Always one. A push square peg in a foul hole. Always one. Go digging in the depths, looking for your soul. Always one. They're looking for the depths of your soul. Always one. They're trying to put a square peg in a foul hole. Yeah.
This is Family Electric Ghost, and what you hear in the background is our song Soul Downtrodden Lewd, and it's included on the podcast, and we're going to be talking about this song from the perspective of hardware workflow recording. And it's just a technique that we do outside of the DAW, and we've been very successful in it. And if you look at what we used to do, we have been recording music for over 30 years. And before I introduced my characters of the Phantom and Josephine Electric, I just created soundscapes on SoundCloud. And I had maybe 1,800 fans, 1,800 listens. Now I have over 72,000 listens and over 34,000 listens on Fanburst. Once I introduced Josephine Electric and started actually using vocoders to express lyrical content in my sound paintings. And that created the whole concept of expansive sound experiments, is that I'm going to create music that has a lot of artistic influences from multiple genres. It's going to be experimental. It's going to be progressive. And we do a lot of live recording. So this particular song is not exactly the way a lot of people record music today. It was done pretty much as a live recording tracked directly into my Zoom R24. Initially, I was experimenting with my Eurorack and my Make Noise Morphogene. I was running some backward tape looping of Family Electric Ghost tracks, which I like to do, and I've discussed that before. I had created a rhythm on my Moog DFAM that wasn't the primary rhythm. It was more like bass tones that were somewhat sparse. Then I created a drum beat off of my Arturia BeatStep Pro, running into a JDXI, using the drum machines built into the JDXI, but then expanding the rhythm capacity to be able to do actual chain recording, which allows you to actually take multiple sets of 16 bars or even more, and then chain them together into a full song. So once I did that, I just started playing with a guitar riff through my Juno GI guitar capability, and I just decided to do a song somewhat like When Miss Electric Comes to Town is probably the primary example of my kind of punk like guitar focused tracks. It also has a lot to do with like Prince's like Sign of the Times, Never Take a Place of Your Man. But I'm also influenced, as I said before, by like the Replacements, Hush Kadu, so Peter Westerberg, Bob Mould, Grant Hart, Sex Pistols, Dead Kennedys, any of the hardcore punk that I grew up with, even bands today like Orange 9mm. I really appreciate the punk aesthetic, and I also am a big fan of progressive rock and bands like Genesis and Yes and Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So the whole idea of expansive sound experiments is I merge that with also like jazz techniques from like Sun Ra, Davis, Coltrane. I like to take multiple genres and mix them up, and I like to do live recording of new material, and then I go back and I overdub. Now this version of this song, So Downtrodden Lewd, as I said, after initial experimentation to kind of build the groove, it was live recorded, and the version you hear is actually the first take after practicing and not running a tape, and it tends to be what we do sometimes is like when we get a song and we are able to do it on the first or second take, it tends to be very much capture the feel what I wanted it to be. And a lot of times if I go back and I try to redo the song, the first take tends to be better. And I've just come to terms with that in my recording style. And there are some songs that have been highly produced that I've taken like weeks or months to put together and craft. Like the September Play concept album was built over like a year. It took a lot of original sound painting tracks I did that didn't have vocals, and then reworked them and then re-edited them and did a lot of overdubs. It took a while to put that together. So that I do go through that process sometimes when I try to create concepts. But September is a rock opera, so it's kind of pretentious and convoluted in a way. But that's what rock operas are. They're just going to be pretentious, and they're going to be a little bit more effort to try to put things together. But when you're creating like a punk rocker song, the last thing you want to do is like overproduce it. You want to kind of capture the passion at the moment. And Josephine Electric, her character that I've created for her is a very sexually free woman that just is gonna be who she is and just doesn't care what it means, and is just gonna be out there and just lay it on the line. And she just has a tendency to kind of bring up parts of her personality, and sometimes she's feeling down, she's feeling downtrodden, or she's feeling kind of like anomie or like disassociated, but then she tends to use her sexuality to kind of give herself power and make herself feel better, which maybe is not the most positive thing, but this for her is a way of the self-actualizing. And so she is just going to be totally free in that way, and this song kind of represents that freedom, and she's just going to do whatever she wants, and she's going to be her. She's going to be what she wants to be and how she wants to feel, and she's going to live for the moment, and that makes her feel like she's alive. A lot of times in these songs like this song and when Miss Electric Comes to Town, she's an alpha personality that's just taken over a club. She walks in a club, she's going to be the focus. She's going to be like, everybody's looking at her. The men and the women are looking at her. She doesn't really care. She's going to go with whoever she feels she wants to be with. And, it's just a freedom that I created with Josephine. And she is she is the lead singer of Family Electric Ghost. That whole concept of the ghost, we eventually wanted to create like animated version of what I actually envisioned is, Josephine to be this very sexual, powerful female lead singer that has this punk aesthetic, but also she has like a new romantic aesthetic. She would be dressed in very sensual garments and look amazing, and have like 6-inch heels and backless gowns and gold wrapped around her ankle chains, and just looking amazing is what she would look like. She would be very, sexually appealing, but very aggressive and very assertive, and not just like somebody's plaything. She would be someone that you're like, oh, she's badass. You're like a Joan Jett, Lita Ford. She's badass, but she's super sexy, but she's, got a punk aesthetic too. So it would be kind of like a merging, like Runaways, Joan Jett, looking a little bit like a Vanity or an Apollonia, or and just having that kind of appeal, and then just having kind of a street smarts of like Erica Badu, and having that kind of power of a real punk, like Susie and the Banshees or something. So it's kind of a merging of like new wave, really aggressive punk, and there's the kind of 80s kind of androgyny that she would have too, because she kind of plays with both sides. And so this is the whole idea of the ghost. And, I've always wanted to either do it through animation or actually have an actress play Josephine. And if we did shows, we could have an actress actually play her character on stage while we do the music. And, even though the music's coming from me, we might play games and make it look like, she's actually singing when I'm singing, because I'm in the ghost mask. That's part of what the whole idea of Family Like a Ghost is. I wear a phantom mask, and I could be playing these voices, but we could have actors or models or dancers playing out the stories. And that's the overall concept for the future of the ghost, if we were able to bring that somewhere. And I've always been interested in see if I could get other artists to kind of go with that idea and represent that. We have talked to artists like Jess Davis. That would be awesome if I could get her to do that. But, she's doing a lot of projects, but that comes to mind that we have talked to her, and it would be really cool if she played Josephine. That would be awesome. But it's just, blue sky in it, because I come up with things all the time. But we are fan supported, as I've talked to before. And you can actually, subscribe to the Ghost. And what do you get? Well, you're going to be able to get exclusive MP3s and WAV files. If you give us your information, we'll send them to you. We'll give you songs in progress. We'll give you unreleased material, some old backdated material. One of the things we could do is we have on Amazon.com, we have the original Phantom Electric Ghost albums of Something Wicked, Indigo Menace, and Anesthesia, Sweet Neo, Soul Surrender. If we get fan supporters that sign up for the $4.99 and the $9.99, we will send to you the Amazon copy of those either one of those 3 albums that are still available. And so that's like a good faith thing that we could do. And if you give us your information, we can get that to you. So that support will help us get new gear and tour and expand our show where we interview indie artists from around the world. This version of the show is where we just talk about the Ghost and how we write songs. But our other version of the show is where we interview artists like Erica, Kendra Black, Rain, The Muted, Secrecies, which we want to bring back. We had them on Spearman. We're trying to see if we can get authorization to bring their interview back here. And we've been interviewing people since 2017. We started on an app called Spearman. We used to talk to rock tunes about the process of songwriting. Then we started to interview artists. We had a big collaboration last year with the great producer Alt Control K on the album To Infinitum. We had artistic differences and communication issues, and we ended up not continuing that relationship, but that album is still out there, and we both do get our equal royalties from that record. And it was a great experience in terms of working with an artist on the West Coast and doing a lot of cool work together. I've always been interested in trying to see where we'd follow that up, but that's always dependent on the other artists if they want to do that. But we've been working on collaborations for a long time, and part of what we want to do in the future is to even have a co-host on the show so that we can actually interview indie artists with another person. We've been primarily looking for a female artist, but we're looking for any artist that would be interested in doing interviews and having the time to do that. It's not a paid position until we get fan support. We're not getting that support yet, so it would be a volunteer position. You can contact us through our Anchor podcast. If you just go on the Anchor app and your favorite Phantom Electric Ghost, you can send us a voice memo with your information, and we can see if you are into doing these interviews. If you want to listen to some of the interviews with the indie bands and see the kind of things that we do, and let us know if you're interested. Again, this is Phantom Electric Ghost. This song is out there on SoundCloud. We'll be pushing it out to the streaming services shortly. And hope you enjoy Soul Downtrodden Lewd.